A magic place, a holy place, the Black Hills, South Dakota, Wyoming. A place where native people have always come to cleanse their soul. In the old days, the warriors would ride their horses across the Great Plains and have a feeling of brotherhood, feel the wind in their face. Today it is done on the iron horse, and we, as native people, understand why they make this ride and what they're looking for.
For 50 years, motorcyclists from around the world have made an annual pilgrimage to the Black Hills of South Dakota. During this, the gathering's 50th anniversary, 300,000 bikers converged on a town with a population of under 5,000. This phantom city instantly became, by far, the largest in the Dakotas.
Just a freedom. It's a feeling of freedom, and there's a little bit of revelry in it because through the years the bikers were looked on as a lower class of people.
Because we're weird, and we's weird people, okay? And we're different from what's normal, and people are always afraid of something that's different.
You know, you just got to get lost in your own world. I do, at least, anyway. Leave your problems at home.
One person described it as kind of like all the Christians going to Jerusalem, you know? They're all gathering up here.
Some of the guys out here, I mean, they're flat out, they're real crazy. I mean, they're just crazy, and they like to hurt people.
But 99% of the guys are out there to have a good time. They're doctors, they're lawyers, they're all sorts of race of people.
From California and Moscow, Texas and Tokyo, the aerospace engineer, the shoe salesman, the bartender, the grade school teacher, citizens for 1 week of the new biker nation.
Well, there's just a lot of nice people to meet. You have a lot of places to go in to see the shirts, pins. If you want to drink, there's a place for that.
done. The store windows are taken out. There's little areas to sell things. Vendors have moved in. There's no place to park. It's hours to drive, and it does resemble a large city.
Like a heavy metal version of Brigadoon, the city exists for only a single week.
Get set, go!
Join a team. I've been in them for 17 years. When I get too old to crank my motorcycle and nobody will crank it for me, then I'll have to quit.
We're the last American heroes. It's like little boy games that have no end.
You feel free. You got the wind, and you know that you're right there. You can see everything. You can drive by through a canyon, and you can look up and see the top of the canyon and not the top of the car, and you can see the eagle soaring above the canyon and not just your velvet on your roof.
To get out, just, you're not stuck in a hot car, you're not, I've got 2 kids, I get to get away.
Every state in the Union and dozens of countries are represented, as overnight, nomadic communities cover the surrounding hills.
It's pretty centrally located, so people from all over the country can come. We have people here at Sturgis from all over the world. I have people in my camp with us right now that are from Switzerland, from Germany, from England, from France, and Australia. And this is where we met, was at Sturgis. And every year we try to camp in the same place so we can reunite and tell a few more tales about where we've been and what we've done and share our experience with motorcycling.
We can get up every morning and look ourselves in the mirror and say, I can live with that person. We live by morals that most Christians wish they had. You don't hurt children, old people, animals. You live good. Try and be honest. Do whatever you can to get by. We're pretty honest with one another. We take care of one another. It's a brother and sisters across the country, because we're the only ones left for one another.
Bikers came to Sturgis half a century ago because it was one of the few places that didn't fear them. That's still why they come.
This year was the 50th anniversary of Sturgis, and I just had to come. It's something else. If I ever had to do anything, this was it. I was putting in cable TV in the Arlington area, and I called up my boss and I said, I really got to go to this thing. I told him I don't expect you to understand, but I really have to go to this thing. And well, he didn't understand. I don't have a job now.
This terrain hasn't changed in hundreds of years. How men ride through it has.
If we didn't have the highways, the same people probably would be exploring on a horseback.
The magic about motorcycling to me is to be able to travel around the country. It sort of reminds you maybe way back when our forefathers trekked across the country in a little primitive method. The freedom of being able to tour the back roads, see the country where you want to.
Sometimes you got to reach down inside yourself to make yourself climb that hill, whether you're on a horse or on a motorcycle. Maybe the motorcycle, the horse can do it. Maybe you can't.
There are more than 5 million motorcycles in the United States now, and less than 4 million horses.
When you live in an urban area where people are stacked on top of each other like sardines, it's just so nice to get out and nothing but open country, like the old West kind of thing.
The country is just gorgeous up here. I would not trade America for anything in the world. It is so fabulous just to see not only what God did, but what we preserve as American heritage.
In 1868, a U.S. government treaty promised the Sioux tribes they would retain their sacred Black Hills as long as the grass shall grow and the waters flow. A few years later, gold was discovered in the area. The treaty, needless to say, quickly became history. Even the name, Sturgis, is deeply tied to the struggle over this land.
Jack Sturgis, who was a lieutenant in the 7th Cavalry, died with Custer at the Little Bighorn.
Whether they ride here on horseback or motorcycle, the Black Hills have long been sanctuary or an escape to those living outside the law. These back roads and deep woods have always been refuge for men on the run. The myth of the outlaw finds resonant ground here, whether outlaw in fact, lifestyle, or simply affectation. Their shrines are here. Kindred spirits of the past haunt the air. Deadwood, South Dakota, its checkered past remains its most marketable commodity.
Deadwood was fortunate enough to have Wild Bill Hickok shot in the number 10 saloon in 1876, and that really has been the town's claim to fame. Prostitution and brothels flourished in the town until about 1978, and so it's always maintained its Old West flavor, and the legalized gambling kind of fits in with that pretty well.
You still have to check your weapons at the door of saloon number 10. Nonconformists, rebels, and downright outlaws. Their heroes may be society's villains. Their rituals may violate common law, but in their search for freedom, self-reliance, and tolerance, they embody a fundamental part of the American dream.
It's America, and I live in America, and I like to see my country, and I go all over where I can. There's nothing like that feel to get out on the highway and go 100 miles an hour, you know. Wind in your face and it feels good. You don't have any responsibility except you and that motorcycle.
Anybody that did an average amount of motorcycle riding has been talking about for over 2 years is the 50th anniversary of the Sturgis Black Hills Classic, where 50 years ago bikers had to find somewhere to go to get together and have fun, and this thing has exploded.
In the late 1930s, few Americans roamed the country on motorcycles. One of them was Clarence "Pappy" Hoyle. He and his wife Pearl came up with the idea that bikers should have a retreat and organize the first Sturgis rally.
Our first group we had in our backyard under a big circus tent. They came in the night before. There were about 200 people all together. There were whole families. A man and his wife would bring his children, and they just came in for an evening of telling tales about motorcycles and looking at each other's motorcycles, eating donuts and drinking coffee. We knew that the 50th would be large, but we never dreamed there'd be that many people. I wish he was here to see it.
The very vast majority of the bikers are just normal people. I'm a programmer analyst at home. I got an almost master's degree in computer science. But, you know, I like my long hair and my earrings and the leather and the big scooters.
They wear their Declaration of Independence on their backs, some more defiantly on their skin. During Rally Week, 42 tattoo parlors sprout up on Main Street. The 50th anniversary of the Sturgis gathering was also the most violent. 11 deaths, 1 in a camping accident, 9 on the road. 1 was killed by police.
It's a big city. We're a 350,000 populous city this week. I'm going to have crime. And we did. And we dealt with it the best we could.
The battle lines in their fight for freedom are clearly drawn.
Let me decide whether or not I should put a helmet on my head. Don't force me to put something on my wife's head that I know is going to kill her. I've seen it done. I've seen the results. I've seen a man paralyzed from the neck down, and it's not right. It's not right. People shouldn't be forcing us into those kind of situations, right? I mean, if they want to see helmets, go visit that guy. Go see that guy when he begs for somebody to end his life, because his mind is working just as well as it always worked, but his body don't work anymore. 30-mile-an-hour accident, right? Because he was forced to put a helmet on, because Canada's got a helmet law. Don't do that to us.
Every freedom has a price.
I laid up in hospital in Dallas paralyzed for about a year or so in 1969 with a broke back. Got run over by a garbage truck on it.
It don't matter, you know? You know? We're all gotta die anyway. What the hell? That's one thing we got to do.
I've got friends that have been hurt, you know, and then you know, like in my instance, I got right back on it just to prove that I wasn't scared of that motorcycle because it hurt me, you know.
Well, I buried my brother in 1980 off his Harley. A car ran him off the road in a turn. They never even stopped. Ran him off the road and left him there to die.
You gotta take chances every day in life. So, you know, this is one part of my chance in my life, and I'm gonna do it until the day I die.
At week's end, the tribes and their city scatter back into the winds that brought them here.
and the land will go back to as it was. Many people come and go, but once you have been to the Black Hills, it will always be a part of your soul.
The Black Hills remain untouched by man, silent partner to his dreams, silent witness to his sins.